Up here. No way out over here. I see him.
Detecting additional hostile contacts.
He's down.
Rogue agent eliminated.
Ripper, you good? Stay near me.
Rogue hive detected.
Got him. He ran.
Neutralized.
Yep.
Bite me.
Oh my god, bro. I hit him with the Ricky, bro. Where you going, dog? Three stacks. Bro, I just wiped all three of them with the Ravi. If this ain't the best exotic in the game, I don't know what is.
Landmark.
El Salvador.
Agent down.
They're on the right, over here. Ravenous, baby. Hey, what's up, Ratio? I got you, bro.
Rogue hive detected. An agent needs assistance.
Hit me with all you want, bro. Dead.
Hey YouTube, 𝒊𝒏𝒄𝒍𝒑𝒔 here. I am back and today's video is special. Yes, I got the Ravenous and it does not disappoint. If it's your first time here and you're interested in builds from DPS all the way to skill, then this is the place for you. Don't hesitate to subscribe to my channel to stay up to date with all my content. Ravenous exemplifies exactly what this weapon is, because it takes no prisoners. After using this weapon in a PTS, I wasn't really sold on its effectiveness in content like heroic, legendary, and PvP. But now since I got it, you can't tell me nothing. This exotic has been forged on the battlegrounds of all levels of content. And when I say all levels of content, that's exactly what I mean. Let me show you what I came up with. What is going on, YouTube family? I am so stoked about this build right now. For all the people that's saying that the Ravenous is trash, it's not as good as they thought it would be, or it's not good in PvP, it's situational in PvE, please don't listen to them, because that is not true. This is one of the best exotics that have been released to date. It destroys everything. Legendaries, raids, PvP. You saw the gameplay, right? The gameplay don't lie. Alright, so the specialization I'm using is the sharpshooter, because the Ravenous is a little bit hard to handle, so the sharpshooter helps me out with that stability. You can go with something else, but I think that's the best way to go with this. Okay, so the primary I'm using, of course, the Ravenous. This lore is pretty sick here. Gary and Frecky, hounds of Odin, roam the battlefield eternal, greedy for the corpses of those who have fallen. Go forth, warrior of Odin, and hunt, slake their thirst. Yeah, that's pretty sick. The talents on here, oh, it's actually called Gary and Frecky. On trigger pull, fire both barrels at once. Reason for this is because you fire the primer and you fire the regular round, depending on which primer it is. The way that this works is that when you're firing from the right shoulder, it embeds offensive primers, 5 of them. And then once you switch to your left shoulder, those primers detonate. You do the same thing on the left shoulder, but the difference is that it detonates defensive primers. Those offensive primers deal 100% weapon damage each, and the defensive primers give you 20% bonus armor because it's 4% each shot, and it gives you 10% amplified damage to armor plates for 5 seconds. Now, I don't know if those are armor plates on NPCs or armor plates in PvP. It might be armor plates in PvE, because when you're hitting heavies, you stagger them, and their armor plates just get annihilated once you switch that shoulder. So I think one of the reasons that people are saying that this gun is not that good in PvP and like situational in PvE is because it's not that easy to use. Once you switch your shoulder, it throws off your accuracy, and that can get you melted in PvP and PvE. So you're kind of like stuck, like this is not really that viable to use, especially if you're in cover and you're on the right side, and like you can't switch shoulders based on the position you are in cover, so you're stuck at only a defensive primer. So I see the struggles that people have, but this is why you have to play a certain way in order to yield the results that you want. And that's the way I do it, because rifles are my play style and I love it. And I like the fact that it's hard to use, because once you master this, then nobody's going to be able to mess with you, period. So the secondary I'm using is Invisible Hand. I made a build a while ago called The Only Weapon with Perfect Allegro on it. The Invisible Hand is survived by Allegro, because Allegro is no longer in the game. Just on that fact alone, I like to keep this weapon. Now, it's not as good as I thought it would be, but it does the job. And if you want to make it even more effective, then run it with Striker to get even more fire rate. I've seen people do that and they melt. So that's a good strategy to use with the Invisible Hand. Make sure you roll damage to targets out of cover on here, because it stacks with other parts in the build that I'm going to show you later on. For the pistol I'm using, you're going to want the Orbit that has perfect finisher. Now, because I don't have the Orbit, I rolled finisher on here, and the only difference between the perfect version and the regular version is the fact that the perfect version gives you 40% crit. And that's the one you want to have, because 10% is a significant difference when it comes to crit. Till then, just roll finisher on your weapon. So what this does is that when you kill an enemy, then you swap to your primary weapon within 10 seconds, you'll get that 30% crit chance and crit damage for 15 seconds. Now, when I'm using the Ravenous, I'm gonna be honest with you, I basically don't use anything else, man. Like, this is the only weapon I need, and it's so satisfying, I don't even want to switch. But if you're gonna do that, then go ahead. So let's get on to the build. The Ravenous have crit attachments, so you're going to want to stack your build based on crit, and this is why I have the coyote mask. If you're within 0 to 25 meters, you're going to gain 35% critical hit damage and 10% crit chance for just shooting the enemy, and your whole team is going to get this buff. Now, if you want, you could switch this coyote's mask out and use like a Fenris mask, so you can get the damage with the Invisible Hand, and just have somebody else run the coyote mask, because it works for everybody on the team. Alright, y'all, I got a y'all chest piece with Unbreakable on it, and I'm gonna tell you why I have Unbreakable. And having the y'all specific chest piece is not really required. You can use, let's say, the Badger Tough Perfect Unbreakable if you want, and have like a shotgun for your secondary instead of the Invisible Hand. The reason why I have y'all is because I just love the brand set, and it gives you 10% Hasbro and 5% weapon damage for the second piece. I mean, you could always use hazard protection, especially because you got a lot of people using bleed, burn, so it never hurts to get some hazard protection. Also, one of the reasons I'm using y'all is because this, and I think 1 or 2 other brand sets, are the only ones that come as an armor core but give you an offensive mod slot. I know Badger Tough has that too, which is why I suggested it. But let me know down in the comments what other brand sets do that. I think these are the only two. So here's another strategy to using the Ravenous, especially with Unbreakable in PvP and in PvE. All right, so let's say you're face tanking somebody from the right shoulder starting. Remember, the right shoulder gives you offensive primers that are embedded, and there are 5 of them. So let's say you're face tanking an enemy from the right shoulder. You get their armor down, and by the way, the Ravenous hits hard. It's not like the Merciless used to be where that first bullet doesn't do any damage. All right, this thing is the hardest hitting rifle out of all the rifles in the game, except for the M1A. I think the M1A might hit harder, but you know, the Baker's dozen is not really my cup of tea. So while you're face tanking, you're getting their armor down, they're getting your armor down. And remember, y'all, the meta that most people are using now is that Intimidate Adrenaline Rush combo. While you're face tanking them, they get your armor down, you get their armor down, they proc your Unbreakable, you switch shoulders to the left and detonate those primers. That's why you use Unbreakable with this, because normally you're not really going to be up close on people, but if you are and you find yourself in that position, that's the way you go with this. If you're at a distance and you're zoning the enemy, then it's better to like pick your shots, you know, detonate a primer here, detonate a primer there, because the primers stay for like 5 or 7 seconds, and then every time you hit them it resets. For the holster, I'm just using the 𝐶𝐴 specifically for the crit chance. It gives you 10% for just 1 piece, and this is really good for stacking crit, and that's all you need. Unless you want to stack some more ℔ you can get the second piece, but it doesn't really fit in this build. The backpack, I don't know about you guys, but how many of you have a y'all backpack that's dropped like this? If you're in a DZ as much as I am, then you know that y'all gear drops abundantly, but abundantly trash. This came with these stats. This is nearly maxed out, and it just gave me the opportunity to roll whatever I wanted. So if I wanted to go another way with this, like concussion or whatever, then I have that choice. I actually tried concussion with the Ravenous, and it's not really the way to go. Headshot damage is not really the way to go with the Ravenous, because it's kind of unstable and it's hard to hit those headshots. So you want to just hit them in the body and destroy. Vigilance is perfect for that. Like I said, you can go with whatever you want. So if you want to go with Providence and use the gift and use a Providence chest piece, that's fine too. But remember, Providence does not roll as an armor core, so it's hard to get that armor up. But if you want to use Providence for PvE, it's easier to play PvE with squishy builds. And let me just say something about the Ravenous and PvE, alright? And I know y'all feel me on this. Check this out. You know when you're using the Chem Launcher fire starter and you shoot the Chem Launcher on an NPC and they have some type of sixth sense where they know you're going to shoot it. And even if they're on fire, before you shoot it, they're going to jump. Even if they jumped 1 second before, they're going to jump out the way again. It's so frustrating. Well, with the Ravenous, this works in your favor, because when you embed those offensive primers, they know with that sixth sense that there's going to be an explosion coming. So they're jumping as you're putting those primers in their body, which gives you the advantage because they're not shooting at you. Man, this weapon is so great in so many ways, you just have no idea. And I know you're thinking, yo, I don't have the Ravenous, I'm never going to get it. But listen, this is how it was when the Eagle Bearer came out. Everybody wanted the Eagle Bearer. It was hard for people to do the raid because they couldn't get a group together. But look at it now. People are speed running a raid, and almost everybody has the Eagle Bearer that I know of. So you'll get it eventually. The gloves I'm using are Grupo Sombra, and I roll these to armor. The first piece gives you 15% critical hit damage. You roll another 12%, you'll get 27%. You can't go wrong when you're trying to stack crit with Grupo Sombra gloves. The knee pads. Come on now. What, you think I'm gonna use something else other than the Fox's Prayer? Alright, the reason why this synergizes so well with the Ravenous is because it has 8% damage to targets out of cover. The Ravenous comes with damage to targets out of cover. How many exotics come with targets out of cover damage? I mean, if you roll this and get a max roll, you'll have 18%, man. This is crazy. Alright, let's get to the skills. The skills I'm using is the EMP Sticky Bomb. Okay. You're probably wondering, why are you using the EMP Sticky Bomb? Well, I play PvP a lot and I really enjoy it. But the problem I have in PvP is when I go against people running those Crusader shields, because that's all people use. I talked about this in my advanced tips video, and it was one of the tips I had in there to disable people using that right away. As soon as they pull it out, you shoot this on the ground next to them, they're going to drop the shield and get staggered, which gives you an opportunity to take them out. So this is why I use this in PvP. Now, you can use something else in PvE if you like, but when you're using a DPS build, there are very few skills that you can use that work in your favor. You got these really high cooldowns, like the shock trap, 45 seconds, the turret, I mean, I guess the turret is okay, but it's not going to do any damage, right? It's not going to do anything for you in PvE or PvP. There's very few skills DPSers can use with their build, so I try to take advantage of the ones that are going to work in my favor the best. And this EMP sticky bomb is good for me in PvP. It's also good in PvE if you want to just like disrupt skills and, you know, jam Black Tusk. It's good for that too. The second skill I'm using is the decoy. This skill has become gradually better over time to me. At first, initially, I just thought this skill was really bad. This is honestly one of my go-to skills in most of my builds. I mean, once you drop this decoy, it just takes the nameplate off of you and puts it on the decoy. And I still get fooled sometimes when other people do this to me. Their name is over that. So let's say they're around the corner and they drop the decoy and they're rogue. You can see that decoy lit up red, but the actual person that's out there is not lit up. So this is a great skill to use. I mean, it has a low cooldown, as I said, it has a good duration, and it has almost 1,000,000 health with no skill tier. So I'm hyped for this weapon, I'm hyped for this build. I just finished a raid with this. I mean, I've done legendaries, I've done PvE, I've done PvP. It's certifiably viable in every piece of content that you play. And if you want to get this weapon, I try to help the community out as much as I can. I just made an amazing tutorial, the beginner's guide for the Iron Horse raid. And if you want to check that out, click on this video right here so you can try and get the Ravenous. And guess what? I just made a brand new Regulus pistol build, and you can check that out in this video right here. Come on, y'all, let's go. I'm hyped right now. And if this video helped you out in any way, then please drop a like and don't hesitate to subscribe to my channel. Until I see you on my next video, be right out.